Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kimberly Holiday, and normally I would be serving as your moderator, but today I'm actually going to be your speaker and your facilitator at the same time. First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank each of you for being here. And as I mentioned before we actually started recording, do whatever feels comfortable for you. I'd really love for you to have your cameras on because we're going to make this an interactive experience. This is like being in the beauty shop. You know how those men are in the barber shop and they have those conversations? Well, that's what we're about to do today. We're going to have a conversation about post pandemic anxiety. And we'll get into my topic that I created a month ago before we went back into stage 3. So, good afternoon, and I'm so glad that each of you could join us. Welcome to the Together We Will Heal Forum, organized by the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference and Integral Care, the local area mental health service provider for Travis County. The conference's vision is to educate the African American community on mental health, substance use disorder, and intellectual and developmental disabilities, as well as the total well-being of African Americans. We hope this forum will provide the opportunity for you to participate in conversations that offer education, encouragement, and resources to thrive. My name is Kimberly Holiday, as I mentioned, known to the world as Lady Joy. I am a social psychologist by trade. However, I show up in the world as a motivational speaker, a published book author, a restorative justice practitioner, and sometimes I have my radio hat on. But on all platforms, I am here simply just to model the potential to live with more joy despite life circumstances. It's also really important that I let you know that I am the marketing and outreach chair for the Central Texas African American Family Support Conference. I'm just going to put that plug in there just in case any of you want to join my team. Okay, with that being said, I'll be facilitating this conversation today on post-pandemic anxiety. Guess what, guys? This one's special. We have 10 Diaz spot boxes donated by the National Parents Union to raffle off at the end of the forum. So, but you'll need to stay to the end. And since I decided we have 10 to give away, we just gonna mix it up and be giving them away right in the middle of this thing. So this is actually a great segue for me to let you know that today's forum is sponsored by the National Parents Union. We have their lead Texas regional delegate here to say a few words. But before she does, before I welcome Shay Mackin to the stage, I just want to go over a few housekeeping rules. And that is, if you're not speaking, to please mute yourself so that there's no background noise. There will be all the time you need for interactions. And I do want you to interact with us. If you want to speak, just unmute yourself or raise your virtual hand. If you find that you get emotional or overwhelmed, feel free to turn off your camera and take care of yourself. Self-care is really important. And one last thing, please note that this session is being recorded and streaming live on Facebook. So keep your cute face on. All right, without any further delay, I would like to turn the stage over to Shay Mackin, who is the lead for the Texas Regional. She's the Texas, I'm gonna get it right in a second. She's the Texas Regional Delegate. She's the lead for the National Parents Union. Welcome, Shay.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies. I think it's just ladies joining us today in the beauty shop during this forum. So again, yes, I am Shay Mackin with the National Parents Union, and I'm sure most of you have not heard of the National Parents Union. We've only been around like a year and a half, so it started right before the pandemic. And we were a bunch of parents, really just moms and abuelitas and grandmas who really saw a need for the parent voice, especially in education and making sure parents were connected to what they needed to be connected to, like things like today. So I'm going to show you all a quick video kind of introducing who we are, tell you our mission statement, just so you kind of know who these people are that are going to be raffling off these small boxes, and I'll show you a picture of what will come in the mail. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Here we go.
For years, in neighborhoods and communities across the country, parents and families have come together to build a better life for our future, quietly but powerfully, building pockets of parent power across the nation, working together to fight for safer neighborhoods, to end violence in our streets, and stop mass shootings in our classrooms, standing up to fight for economic justice and good-paying jobs, so that parents and families could actually be parents and families, instead of simply fighting for survival without a safe and affordable place to live, and not knowing if there'd be enough grocery money to last until payday, and stopping the endless cycle of generational institutional racism and a blind allegiance to an education system that maintains an addiction to a status quo that pushed out, underserved, and failed us as children ourselves, and expects us to sacrifice our own babies to protect their system because those who have always done it this way are too comfortable. Mothers, fathers, tias, abuelas, grandpas, grandmas, nanas, and papas, fighting for our seat at the table. The National Parents Union was born out of a desire to connect together to ensure that no parent or family will ever have to stand alone again, that no group of parents will ever have to go up against the most powerful political special interest groups in the nation without other groups having their back, that together we could stand united as the critical missing piece that's keeping America from its true promise of delivering on the dream of a bright future for every single child. And that no one will ever speak for us, for our communities, our families, or our children, but instead, we would speak for ourselves. Our kids, our voice, the National Parents Union.
So that's who we are. We really are just moms and aunts and grandmas like you all, and wanting to make sure that you all have the resources every single day to amplify your voice from the classroom, in partnering with your teachers that educate your kids every day, to making sure you have the housing, the food you need, all that stuff. So that's who National Parents Union is each and every day. We also do some data collection to make sure that everyone's voice is heard, and so that the people who are making decisions for us, because like it or not, you know, we've got some pretty powerful people that make decisions for us every day, that they have the right information and really know what y'all need and want. Our last month's polling, so this was not that long ago, 54% of our parents are still very concerned about themselves or loved one getting coronavirus. 56% are worried about the mental health and emotional well-being of ourselves and our babies, whether they're at home, whether they're in the classroom, whether they're at work. 59% of parents believe that the schools need to really step up when school comes back in session and really bring more mental health and social emotional well-being practices so that we can heal. This is an ongoing thing, right? Even though we're talking about post-pandemic, we're still really kind of in the middle of all of this. So our mission statement for the National Parents Union, and I'm going to read it so I get every beautiful word correct. National Parents Union unites people of color, low-income parents, special needs parents, single mothers and fathers, grandparents, formerly incarcerated parents, and parents in recovery, with the traditionally represented parent voices, to join a vibrant coalition that disrupts the traditional role of parent voice in the policy space. It develops a new narrative that is inclusive of families from a wide variety of perspectives. We are sick and tired of only certain people making the decisions and not everyone's voice coming to the table. And so that is what we are doing each and every day. Let me show you all a picture real quick and then I'll send it to Kimberly. This is what your little goodie bag, your little goodie box will have when it gets sent to you. And these will get sent out next week.
Y'all see me looking, I'm like, is my name on the wheel?
Kimberly, I saw your name. I know, you were already like, do I get to be part of this wheel? So you've got a day of spa kind of in your home where you feel comfortable. A huge thing of bath salts. When I ordered that, I didn't realize how big it was, so I had to keep adding salts, y'all. So you'll get a few baths out of that for sure. You've got some lotion, a shower balm, chapstick with a cute little holder to keep that chapstick with you and keep you nice and refreshed, a beautiful candle and a sheet mask, a really cool water bottle to stay hydrated in our Texas heat or wherever you're joining us from. So we just want everyone to know National Parents Union is 100% there for you each and every day. The really cool thing about it, it is for and with parents just like you, and parents just like you can join. It's a free membership, and what that does is helps make sure you're connected to things you need and make sure your voice is heard authentically, and we can help you amplify that voice however you see fit. So thank you so much. We are so excited to sponsor this forum, and take it away, Kimberly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shay. We are so grateful that you are here and for sponsoring this. And we've had people sponsor and not bring goodies. So you have 10 different baggies to send out. And so what I want to do right now before we jump right in, and again, for those of you who are just now joining us, I want to take this opportunity once again to thank you for being here for the Together We Will Heal Forum. It's your lunch break, and I know you could have been anywhere else, but I thank you for setting your alarms to be here with us today to just kind of take a mental health wellness break. So let's go ahead, Lady Jane, and let's get that wheel and let's spin the wheel and let's see who'll be receiving our first prize. And to all of you who are joining us via Facebook, we are so glad that you're here. Let's get that spinning. Oh yeah, I see people paying attention. They might even turn their cameras on. They looking, where's my name? All right. Chelsea. Is Chelsea here with us today? Lady Jane, is Chelsea here with us today? Looks like we're spinning again. Must be present to win. Oh, that was almost my name. All right. I am not sure if she is here as well. Here we go. One more time. Lady Jane, talk to me because you got us anxious. Oh, Flora is here. Congratulations, Miss Flora. Woo! Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love you, Flora, and I miss seeing you at our in-person conference, and I can't wait to hug each of you again. So let's just jump right on in. So the topic that I created about a month ago was post-pandemic anxiety. And that's when we thought that we were on our way out of this thing. Well, as it turns out, we're still deep in it. And you know what? For me, it just layered the anxiety. And so what we're going to do today is we're just going to have a conversation about that and what that looks like and different ways that we can cope with the stress and anxieties that come up. COVID is just one piece of it. Many of us came to the table already with our issues, now coupled with the COVID and the pandemic. Basically, to put it lightly, these are unprecedented times. People in the United States and people around the world are working around the clock to reduce the coronavirus spread and care for the sick. This so we can get back to our regular routines. And so I had to ask myself, what is the new normal? Because it continues to change. And I don't know about you, but I'm one of those that thrives and strives in structure and routine. But life has been really shooken up for us since our children came home from spring break. We thought it was going to be for 7 days, and they never left. What? I'm stressed about that, right? So there's so many unknowns, and there's so much stress and anxiety that goes with this. I just started making a list, and as I'm doing this, I want you to be thinking about the things that are stressing you and causing you an anxiety as we go through this pandemic, and then open your mic and just tell me what those are. So I just mentioned school. Do our children go to in-person school? Do they stay home? And if they stay home, how can we manage that? Are our children really getting the education that they need? Right? Um, in some ways, I feel like my daughter got cheated. I don't know if she learned everything she needed to know, but I can tell you for sure that the social emotional development side of it suffered quite a bit. And so we found ourselves last year and still currently needing to find therapeutic resources in order to have conversations. Yes, Patricia, go right ahead. That's exactly what I want you to do.
You know, that's one of the hardest things right now is connecting them to services. The majority of the kids that I work with are have mental health issues, trauma, the need personal and thing does not work. As a care coordinator, boys, families, I do wraparound service. Ooh, unstable. Sorry, I've got unstable internet. Our kids are not doing well, especially those kids that have those issues. And so my biggest concern is what kind of quality we're providing for them, the quality of care, the quality of support. They need us physically in there. They need to see us. They need to know that we're going to touch them. We're going to help them. We're going to provide for them. That is a big concern of mine. I don't think I'm doing my job.
And you know, go ahead, jump right in, Cassandra.
So I am at a high school, and the things that we've seen, those are things that we're working on now. And the assistant principals, I'm the lead counselor in my high school. We came back early, and so we've been in meetings figuring out how we're going to meet the needs of those kids coming back. Most of our kids want to come back, and they need to be in there. Some kids, like I have a 15-year-old. He enjoyed being at home. He did everything. And there was a question about were they getting what they need even before the pandemic.
Right.
So that's going to be a thing, because I know where I am, they were getting it before. They were even getting it during the pandemic in school, whether it was virtual or not. But the problem came for us was that sometimes parents couldn't be at home because they had to go to work. So if you have a kid that's not motivated, but they can't be in school, so there's so many dynamics that play into what kids are missing. And I do know that the people are saying, well, our kids are going to be behind. No, they're not. Everybody is in the same boat. You know what I mean? So it's not that they're going to be behind. It's that we're going to have to play catch up from what they should have learned last year, because they may have passed the class, but did they learn anything? Like you said, did my daughter even learn anything? So I think, at least for us, some of our teachers are going to go back and kind of do a review. Like, this is what you should know coming into this class, those kinds of things. And we have a social worker on campus. There are counselors here. We're just, we're doing everything we can so that we can prepare our kids and just be there for them. Just kind of be there.
I appreciate that. And anyone else who wants to jump in while we're talking about school, please do. I mean, as a parent, I watched her. She did very well. She did very well. But I also watched her cry a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I watched her isolate a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And just wondered, like, where is my friends? And as a mother, I felt that it was my responsibility to entertain her. Well, I really don't hang with 15-year-olds.
I got you, because they're 15.
And so, you know, and all jokes aside, her sadness became my sadness, right? And so when our children are unhappy, as mothers, parents, guardians, it really hurts us. And, you know, I'm sure that I did some things that was unhealthy. I know she likes to eat. And so, you know, what do? We spend a lot of time eating. And then, you know, the flip side of that is we gain COVID pounds, and now we're not really exercising and moving as much as we need to. And Shay, I really appreciate you presenting that question or comment in the box, and that was, were our children receiving this before? And, you know, that's a question for each of us to answer personally. But I'm really glad that the pandemic has opened our eyes to even have that question, because a lot of times the question is more important than the answer. And for each one of us, is going to be a case by case scenario, because what my child needs may not be what your now child needs, and what works for my house may not work for yours. So that's good. Did anybody have anything else to say about the school piece? We're going to just jump right in it. I'm calling out some stressors. These are my stuff. Jump in. So church, I enjoy going to church every Sunday. That, you know, no matter what my chaotic week may have looked like, I knew on Sunday, somewhere close to 11 o'clock, I would roll in on two wheels, supposed to be there at 10:45. But I knew that I had a safe place to be. And so with the pandemic, many of our churches either shut down, closed, or they went to this hybrid where you can watch church online. I don't know about y'all, but it is not the same for me. Actually, I was able to visit churches all around the world in 1 hour. Not so stable for me. And the thing is I needed the fellowship. While I can see you on the screen, there is nothing that replaces being able to hug you, to love on you, and encourage you. And in some places, have the sister behind me send me up the box of tissue because my face keeps leaking joy. All right. Anybody want to talk about that? All right. Socially, we're not getting out seeing our friends like we used to. We're not going to these parties and different functions. And even if you went to the party and you held up the wall, there was simply something about being in the company of others that made you feel better, right? And having you visit me at my front door with a barrier between us, or having the mask on, doesn't really allow me the opportunity to really get to see you and to feel all of you. And so I'm missing that. Would anybody like to jump in and say anything? I'm watching the screen. All right.
I would have to agree with, I don't want to hijack the whole thing, but I'm an extrovert. I have to be out. My husband is an introvert. My son is an introvert. They were fine being at home. I was talking to a friend that lives down the street yesterday on the phone. He was calling me about his son coming to school here, and he's also an introvert. It's that whole, and he was okay. But his wife is too an extrovert. So you have those where you feel like you're stuck in the house and you're going to pull all your hair out.
Yeah.
Because it's overwhelming, not only for the kids, it's overwhelming for the parents. That's a major stressor, because when you can't get out, you can only go to the backyard so many times.
Hello.
And if you live in an apartment, you don't have a backyard, so you can only go to the balcony so many times. There's not, and so we just kind of have to. We have a lot of work to do as far as getting people back. I don't know.
That's good. I see you, Miss Charlotte. And okay. Actually, this is an opportunity for us to, to practice things that we should have already probably had in place, right? Because going out, walking the block, just stepping outside, breaking the routine to get some sunshine, to get some straight up vitamin D are things that we needed before the pandemic even started.
Right.
So actually the pandemic is probably calling us out on some of the things that we should have been working on in the first place. Go
that
ahead,
whole
Ms.
washing your hands thing.
Hello. You should have had clean hands before.
Right?
Miss Charlotte, go right ahead.
Okay.
It's so good to see your beautiful face.
Thank you. So I'm raising my grandson. Mom passed away 9 years next month, and they're 15 and 18 or 19, I think 19. But my 15-year-old, I could not get his first year in high school, ADHD. So being on the computer was driving him crazy to get to school. And now, and like I said, I'm G-mom, I'm grandma. So it's harder for me to get him motivated to go in school. He does better in school than he does on the computer. And so now he's telling me he's not mentally ready to even go back into school. What do I do? You know, it's a challenge.
Can you visit the school before they start?
I probably can. And what scared him is he's in Del Valley High School, but he said that there were COVID cases in school, and he don't want to go in and compromise me because I just look good. I'm not well, but he's just paranoid about going into the building. But
and that's a legitimate concern.
So
but
what do we do?
Call the school to see if you can at least get him up there to take a tour. If he's never been in that school before, take a tour of the school. I know the principal.
He went for a hot minute, but like she said, spring break, that was it.
Yeah, no, he needs to go while there are people in the school, the teachers, I don't know when the teachers go back in Del Valley, but the principal there is amazing. She's brand new, but she used to be in Pflugerville. Okay. She's amazing. And you can tell her that Cassandra Jackson said so.
Okay.
Just to ask her to see what they have in place. And he needs to be there with you. So he hears from her or from whoever the counselor is going to be or whatever, to get him ready. I wouldn't do it on the first day because that's going to be terrifying. Right. But if you can get in there now, I think that would be a perfect situation if he can get in there and see where he's going to be, just kind of get the layout of the school. So that's a start.
That when you were mentioning that, it brought tears to my eyes because just think about the stress that he is carrying because he does not want anything to happen to G Mama.
Right.
Almost to the point that he is willing to sacrifice his education, which is his ticket to wherever he wants to go, to make sure that you are staying safe.
Yeah.
See, this is why we got to have these conversations, because that just might be just one part of his stress, right?
Right.
And so, so I'm so glad that we're having this opportunity to speak. Patricia, did I see your hand up?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Again, I want to just let you all know this is not your typical while you at work, stay muted. I don't want to hear from you. I want to see you and I want to hear from you because this forum is called Together We Will Heal. It's not that we're going to have all the answers today, but a lot of people are suffering because they think they're suffering by themselves. They don't think that anybody else is experiencing the same fears that they are. Right? But we're here to let you know that you're not alone. So while we're talking about school, there's this other piece. Some of us are scared to go back to work. I know y'all got real comfortable. You got to pick your little virtual screen in the background. You got to work from home. I was still late coming from upstairs to get down to the computer. It still was happening, okay? That's my stuff. But as I go back into the work office, at first, everybody was required to have on mask. Then it's, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear your mask. But I can't ask you if you've been vaccinated. So I just have to trust the fact that while you in my face with no mask, that you've been vaccinated when I know that I have sickle cell and you are putting me at high risk. So while I want to go to Caritas of Austin and do my job serving the homeless youth, I'm also very concerned about being in the office. So y'all know me, I'm one of them ones. Hello, everybody, walk through real quick, get my stuff. Oh, I'm about to get back out in the field. Why? Because I'm trying to find me some fresh air. Anybody want to talk about stressors that are coming up for you as you get ready to return back to your place of business, go back into the schoolhouses as teacher, administrators, staff? I just like to make room for you to speak. Now,
I think part of it, Kimberly, for what I'm seeing, some of the people I'm talking to is almost losing what we gained when we were home. We got to be home with our babies more, with our loved ones a little bit more. And now I got to go to work and add that drive time and then the drive time. And maybe I'm not going to be home for dinner every night anymore, like before. So I'm going to miss out on that time together as well. I think we're going to lose something that actually was a positive.
I'm glad you brought that up, because while many people talk about the negatives of being sheltered in place, I fell more in love with my husband during shelter in place. And when we had the ice storm and there were no lights and no food, we got closer. Either I want to stay warm. But the thing is that, yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. But some people miss that. And some marriages didn't survive COVID because, as we talked about, they never really learned how to deal with each other before this happened. And so when there was a storm in our lives, they just couldn't make it. They couldn't figure out how to communicate with one another. I have 3 children, ages 27, 20, and 15. And over the last year, I've got to know my children in the most special ways. I figured out what their tics are, what irritates them the most about me, and what irritates me about them, and ways that I can love on them better and hear them and be able to sit and feel their energy and acknowledge that something is not quite right, instead of just running in and out of the house or asking when they come home from school, how was your day, but not really listening nor caring, right? And so this gives us an opportunity to get in deeper, to learn. Oh, Lady Jane said quality sleep. Hello. During the ice storm, I told people, I can't call you because I can't charge my phone. But really, I could have in the car. But it just gave me a moment to shut down. And I told everybody I was FOB. What does that mean? Flat on back. For 5 days. It was absolutely wonderful. How many of us are just always constantly moving? Your schedule is so full that you didn't even schedule yourself a potty break, nor did you take a moment to eat. So you're completely running yourself on empty. So it's really important that you be mindful about your sleep. I'm gonna miss that too. All right. Some more anxieties and things that cause us, some stressors is the access to healthcare. We're talking about schools, but there's also, is there equal and fair access to healthcare? Does everyone who experienced COVID receive the same treatment? Does everyone know where they can go get a vaccine? Are we talking about it as much as we used to? Because there was so much information in the news at one time, you could turn it on and you knew exactly where you could go. Well, I needed to find a test. Well, I couldn't really find a place. And some of these free places that used to be set up, they just have tents there. So And everyone doesn't have access on their phones to go to Google to put in information. Remember, a lot of us I didn't really even use Zoom that much. So I'm being stretched technically at that, which causes me stress. So if that causes us stress to figure out how to get on the Zoom room, imagine how I feel for our kids who have to move from class to class to class, right? All right. Travel. That stresses me out. I still keep going. I got vaccinated and I'm rolling. I think I've traveled more. I'm mad now that y'all are getting back out there traveling because now my airfare is going up and the planes are full. But the truth is, instead of just wearing my cute Lady Joy mask, the truth is you might see me have 2 or 3 on them. Why? Because that is my fear and my anxiety that you see physically, because I'm worried that everyone around me is not as mindful, right? And then I see on the news that people are getting way up in the skies acting up. I ain't ready to jump. And they just send down that thing to breathe. I didn't hear anything about a parachute. So stress and anxiety. I don't want to take over. Anybody else have anything that's coming up for them at this time?
There were 2 things that you mentioned that my family, like my son, I had no idea. He's at the school that I'm at. And when his freshman year, I noticed that he would go from class to class. He never, in school, kids hang out in the hallways. They're barely making it to class on time or not making it to class on time. He was in every single one of his classes on time. So that was great. I didn't know that there was something hidden until pandemic. He was at his, he was at his, that was his place to be, was at home. He was in his room and on his computer, but I took him to the orthodontist, and on the way, he revealed to me that he has anxiety about being around people. I had no idea. I'm in the same school with my child. I had no idea. And I had to go in. This was the last day for his braces. So I'm in there with him signing the paperwork. He was sitting in the chair, just shaking. And then when we took he took the STAR English 2 test. So he came to school with me to take it. He didn't want to, but I said, you go ahead and take it now so you don't have to do it during the summer. The information is fresh on your mind, blah, 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 because you still have to take it to graduate. So we get up there and he came to my office. When I tell y'all, this is a child that does not cry. He started shaking and he started crying. He teared up. I closed my door and we were talking about it. I walked him up to my room because I was administering a test. He helped me set up my classroom. And then I walked him to where he was testing. When I tell y'all God is good, he got to test with a very strong man who only had 8 kids in his room. And that was just, and he was fine. When the test was over, I didn't even see him leave because people they got to leave as soon as, after 11, they were letting kids leave if they were finished. He was gone. I mean, he was like, okay, I'm done. He was trying to get out of there. And he passed his STAR test, but it's that anxiety. And then my nephew, when everything was kind of lifting, most of my family is vaccinated. We had a birthday party for my brother and myself. And my nephew, who is my brother's son, didn't want to come down. He said, yeah, I'm vaccinated, but I don't want to be around all these other people because I don't know if they're vaccinated or not. He's 26. He was 26 at the time. So there's that anxiety, no matter how old or how young you are.
Thank you for mentioning that. And in your story, you've also modeled for us as parents and guardians, teachers and caregivers that we really should continue to make space for our children to be able to just share themselves. If he didn't feel as comfortable as he did with you, he would have, if you don't bring it out, then it's going to internalize and it manifests itself in some other way. Exactly. We all know this because you know what? As adults, we're like professional stuffers of stuff. And you think you've stuffed it away real good, but it's going to show up in another way. I'm going to read some of these comments over here as we get ready to spin this here wheel.
Lady Joy?
Yeah, yes.
We are going to skip Patricia's comment.
Okay, Patricia has a comment?
Yes, but we will skip it.
Okay. It wasn't Patricia's comment. It was someone's comment who told me, oh, it was Stacy's. It says, sounds silly, but when I go back to work, I have to get a whole new wardrobe. So that will be expensive and an impact on my checkbook. I feel you on that. It's a good thing Walmart got some new spicy clothes because I can't spend a whole lot. But it's true. It's like making a first impression all over again. And don't forget your matching mask. All right, let's get ready to spin this here wheel. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing, to check in on what you're doing for your vices while you're stressed and while you have anxiety. In a joking manner, we mentioned spending money. Some of us are using people, places, and things, right? And if you had an issue before the pandemic, do you think it just went away? The liquor store was very open during the ice storm. I don't think it was a grocery store open. You had to wait in line for 4 hours at HEB, but the liquor store was popping. Spin the wheel. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Man, just can't get to Kimberly. Carmelita. Woo! Is Carmelita with us?
Yes.
Congratulations, Carmelita. You know what? We usually don't have 10 things to give away, so let's spin it again. I like this part. Come on, Stacy. Thank you so much again to our sponsor. Hey, come on now. Pastor Sonia Hosey. Now listen. Oh, we're doing it again. Okay,
Yes.
okay. This is better than bingo.
Alida.
Miss Alida Bennett. Congratulations to you. Let's do one more. I'm watching the time on us. Spin it, spin it. Jimmy Smith. Woo! All right. I'm going to be really true to our time. We're only here until 2:30, and I love these conversations that we're having, and I just want to continue a little bit. So we've talked about travel a little bit. Someone brought up celebrations. They don't look the same either. And these celebrations where we're isolated in place, they're getting real creative and very costly. And when we talk about celebrations, I also want to bring up the celebration of life. We've lost a lot of friends and loved ones over the last year and a half. And they've had not the proper opportunity to be celebrated in their lives as we normally would before the pandemic. Because people are afraid to even step into the churches or wherever it is that there's a funeral. I'm just going to sit with that. And so that's another thing. Just because the world is moving on doesn't mean that you've forgotten your loved ones. And we already know that grief doesn't have an expiration date on it. And it could be, happened yesterday. It was a bush. It could be a tree. It could be the smell of something. Anything, a flower, someone, the way someone touches you, where they touch you, that could set you back and bring about a memory for you. And so I really want to encourage you to be mindful of those things, because you may not notice what it is right off. But again, those things that are not addressed will manifest themselves in some other way. And while we're talking about our children, who are the people that we hurt the most when we don't feel good? I know we don't want to admit it, but it's usually those that are closest to us. You know, we fly off at the handle and we say things, and we think we think we're justified because we had a bad day. But again, the same way you go into that office looking cute, trying to make a first impression, talking nice and sweet, good morning. That's the same love and energy you need to put into your house. You know, charity begins at home. All right. There's all these racial tensions that are still going on top of COVID. It didn't go away. We still have that. And during the pandemic, I know this term was already out there, systemic racism. But when you experience it, it feels different, right? And so there's still that. Many people are being evicted from their homes. There was some cushion right there where you could stick and stay around for a while, but that is over. And so many people have lost their jobs. And while the world is saying that there's so many jobs available, some people still don't have adequate pay. They probably can find a job. Oh, yeah. A lot of these fast food places are hiring for like $15 an hour. But the truth is, can you live off of that? Can you maintain your family with that? And if you take that job, are you giving up your food stamps, your Medicaid, and all of your other things that you were using to survive? Well, oh, and will they give you enough hours at work? They hired me greatly for part-time. I said, what am I going to do with that? That's like my play money. Anyway, by the way, I hope a lot of you use the pandemic to get ready. It's a setup, right? Refresh your resume. People are not looking for people who have all these skills and talents. They're looking for attitude and personality. They want to know how you can handle stress. If you're going to be able to take care of their customers with a smile while everybody is walking around with the same fears and anxieties. So places and jobs that you thought you may not have qualified for, get your stuff ready. Okay. All right. So, I wrote down on my paper, you know how people tell us to socially distance? That term bothers me as a social psychologist, right? Because the way we're made, we're equipped to be, we're supposed to be around people and we're supposed to interact. So I prefer to say, let's do some physical distancing because social connections right now are more important than ever. On my wall over here was actually my window. I got creative. Since there's no guest, I can do different things in my house. These are all cards that my friends have sent me, right? And I just take them and attach them here. But not only are people sending me cards, I'm taking time and managing my own stress by getting pen and paper, not sending you a text message or sending you an inbox, but getting pen and paper and writing you a note to let you know that I love you and I miss you and I can't wait to see you again. Over in your chat box, you'll begin to see some of the resources that we have available. Sonia Hosey, I absolutely love her. She is so serious about making sure that we all understand mental health first aid. You know, we can talk about things on the surface, but what do you really do when someone you love is in a mental health crisis, right? What would you do? Right? What do you do when you find yourself in a mental health crisis? So it's 2:18. I want to use the rest of this time, if we can, have a conversation about ways of coping with stress. I always like to end with self-care, and I know it's so cliche and everybody uses it, but it's really a matter of life and death. You can call it whatever you want to. But if you don't take care of yourself, how can you serve anybody from an empty tank? You cannot. So yeah, I get up every morning, get ready to run out there and serve the homeless. And as soon as I pull in the parking lot, if I don't have myself together and I haven't taken care of myself, it only takes one person laying out in the middle of the street to completely make me crumble. Right? Self-care. Well, during the pandemic, I ate a lot. Food was my medicine. So now I'm having to be very mindful about getting outside and walking the block. And my husband says, hey, what time is it? I was like, I don't know. Ask Alexa. He said it's time to get that Fitbit. Whatever. Anyway, so I have the Fitbit, and the Fitbit reminds me at least to keep moving. And you guys know what happens when you move your body. It is not just for the purpose of losing weight. It is holistic, and it shifts your whole entire mind, body, and soul. So don't worry about how far you're walking. You don't need that Fitbit. Just get out there. Instead of going to drive your car around the corner to go check the mail, walk to the mailbox. Somebody laughing. You know, just take 5 to 10 minutes to sit outside. Many of us are suffering from vitamin D deficiency, and you might not even know. And there's a lot of symptoms and fatigue and things that go with that because you've been sitting in the house for so long and you haven't gotten out. All right. Music is my medicine. What else? I need y'all to start shouting out. Stop listening to me. What you doing for self-care? If you cooking and you trying some new recipes, call me. Call me.
With that music, you got to dance, Kimberly.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
In my house where nobody else sees. It's for me. It's for me. I'm doing the dishes, listening and dancing.
That's
you know?
good. Isn't there a song that says something about like some dance to remember and some dance to forget? I love that part of the song. Yeah, all the music I listen to kind of makes me want to drop it like it's hot. Anyway, and so yeah, even the gospel music. You guys know I'm a gospel DJ, but I still like to drop it hot for Jesus, right? I've been spending a lot of time reading and studying my word. You know, I am faith-based, and so that has been actually my lifeline. Yeah.
Gardening, Lady Joy, gardening.
Gardening.
Yes.
Yes. You know, and even if you don't think you have a green thumb, like go plant some seeds in the dirt and just see what happens. But there's something to that. There's a prerequisite required. You have to water it and you have to love on it, and think of that garden as your body. If you don't water your body and give it what it needs, the nourishment it needs, if you don't sit it out in the sun so the chlorophyll, the teachers are probably laughing at me, can activate, then how do you expect the seeds that have been planted in you to grow? Right? All right, this is not church. Let me keep going. What else? Oh, someone said, oh, Miss Sonia said she grew some green tomatoes, some summer squash, and some tomatoes for the very first time. All right. Also, get in touch with a lot of these free resources. I think Sustainable Foods, or there's different places that will give you free dirt, compost, give you all the seeds you want, and there's different organizations that will come out and build you a box. So if you don't think you have time to make you a garden, you can have you above the ground garden in a box. You can get creative. I use bricks that I had laying on the side of the house, and I put them in a square, and I filled it with dirt, and my tomatoes are actually growing there. And guess what else? This is really amazing to me. When I almost let the garden die, the Easter lilies that I threw out last year still came up right on time. So
Painting.
Painting.
My mother-in-law lives with us, and my niece was quarantining with us. So the three of us, we were outside on our back on the back patio, and we did our own painting with a twist.
Love it. Did you add wine? You know that was one
yes,
of the first
ma'am. And okay. I had my own little sippy cup with my initial on it.
All right. Anything else? Any self-care tips? Breathing, just practicing your breathing. I've been having problems sleeping. And this is just my stuff. I repeat Psalms 23 on repeat, like in almost in breath prayers, right? To help myself. Also, please have a personal board of directors. I have 5 people that I can call even in the middle of the night, should I find myself in a situation where I'm in trouble, right? people who will listen to me not with no judgment. They're safe for me, but they also love me enough to tell me when I'm acting up and I need to get right. Right? Do you have someone like that in your life? All right. Oh, Sunday schools are about to start again. I see that in over. Check your chat box. Check your chat box. Now, Sunday school. That means I'm gonna have to get up earlier and be on time. All right. Kay Hutchinson is awesome. She's helped with relaxation strategies. That's right. All right. It is just about time for us to get out of here. I want to be truth at the time. How many more gifts do we have to give away?
5.
What?
Yes.
Like almost everybody is a winner. Is there any, hold on, Lady Jane. Is there any, I want to just open the floor for a moment to make room and to make space for anybody who feels that they have anything on their heart that they want to share. And I want to remind you that you are in a safe place among your sisters today, and that whatever you're suffering from is probably something we're all going through, and you're not alone. Anyone?
I just want to say I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't know how to put that into words, into action, into wants. I don't know how to fix it. But that's the word I have. I'm tired.
I believe that we're all resonating with you right now. We're tired, and I'm tired of putting on this mask. I'm tired. Go ahead, Miss Charlotte.
I don't know if anybody else is having rent issues either. I haven't gotten an eviction notice, but my rent is behind. I've tried to apply through the rent relief, Texas rent relief. City of Austin denied me. I don't know why, but just that in itself is stressing me. I live on getting disability with these 2 boys, raising these kids by myself, and that's the only income. So I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gotten the eviction notice, thank God, but how do I get, they say the funds are there and available, but how do you get them to approve you or whatever? I don't know if anybody else have anything else for that.
So I've asked people to place any resources in the chat box, but I also want to make sure we get your phone number so that we can reach out to you afterwards.
Okay.
And see if there's some resources that we can find for you. I do not want you guys to see me cry right now.
Okay.
It's because these are real life issues, but we keep showing up. How, do you keep a smile on your face when you're worried about tomorrow if there's going to be an eviction notice on your door for you to leave? Where are your kids going to go, right? This is real stuff, and I see this every day because I serve the homeless. And I'm so humbled by it because it has been me and it can be me, right? Thank you for your willingness to share that. Looks like we have some resources coming over in the chat box on the side. Sonia or Lady Jane, if you could please inbox with Miss Charlotte personally, and let's get her phone number. I don't want to make that public, and let's see what we can do there. All right, while we're spinning the wheel.
Can you give us an email to send resources to you really quick?
Miss Charlotte, do you know how to use the chat box? Okay, Miss Charlotte, what you feel comfortable with, because we are here to help you. I need you to put your information in the chat box, phone number and or email. We don't just talk about it, we're about it, right? Because together we're healed. Because if you're hurting, we're hurting. And I believe we got people on the line, Shay especially, who will be able to connect with you to talk about some resources to help you with schooling. And Cassandra Jackson is going to be an excellent resource. And Cassandra, thank you for being here, for sharing your feedback today with us. Priceless. All right, spin that thing.
Okay.
Y'all gonna make me cry. can I win?
Let's see. Nita, you should win.
Nita.
Right.
All right, is she here?
She is.
Okay, I can't see everybody, so my apologies. All right, that means we have 4 more to give away.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she's here. She said, yes, I'm here, thank you. Cassandra! Woo, 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 woo. Thank you so much. And while we're spinning again, I just want to say thank you to all of those of you who joined us through Facebook. This will be available for you to view again. Patricia! That's you, Patricia. Listen, now, we didn't just gather these items because they were cute. We gathered these items because these are self-care items. Monica! We're hoping that you plan some time just to be alone with you to address, yeah.
Okay.
Last
one. Last one.
This is for me. Come on. This is a good spin. Spin it again. Woo, 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 woo. Ah.
Well, that was fun.
That was so fun. Again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Shay Mackin of let me get all my notes right, the National Parents Union for being here, for speaking, and for sponsoring us today, and for sharing all these lovely gifts with everyone here. In my final message to you, I want to remind you that we have this forum in this particular way every 3rd Wednesday of the month from 1:30 to 2:30 on various topics. And so we encourage you to join us. Let's see what else. Don't forget to join our Central Texas African American Family Support page on Facebook, where you will always find updated information. And again, our conference, we've been running for over 20 years. It is going to be virtual again this year. It is a really big deal. And again, we have a call out for papers. So any of you who are interested in speaking and or leading workshops and volunteering or whatever you want to do, just smile at people on the screen. We need you. Okay. My name is Kimberly Holiday, and it has been my absolute pleasure to love and serve. And this wouldn't be what it is without you today. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.